A very warm welcome to one and all. I, Gunjan Garg at RateGain, welcome you all to another series of webinar. Today I have with me Yogesh Chandra, who would be talking about how hotels can use Foursquare to drive business. Now before we start, a little about Yogesh. Yogesh is a corporate executive currently working as Vice President Hospitality for RateGain, a leading travel technology company. He is recognized as a hotel revenue management and a social media specialist in the hospitality industry. He has an experience of over 13 years in the hospitality industry and has worked with some of the largest organizations like IHG, Taj Group, Leela Group, Castle Hotels and Resorts, to name a few. He is an avid researcher and industry commentator on social media and new age distribution avenues used by the hotels. So welcome Yogesh. Now I would like to hand over the presentation to Yogesh.
Hi everyone. Thank you for joining in this session. Before we get started, I would just like to say that once we are finished with the presentation, any question and answers that you may have, you may feel free to ask them to me. I will also leave my contact details, so if you have any questions at a later stage around how to use Foursquare, you can definitely get in touch with us. So let's get started. I hope all of you can see the title screen. And at any point of time, if any of you have any questions, please feel free to either use the chat mode or use the raise your hand option, which is one of the options on your GoToMeeting console. You will also be sent a few poll questions just to find out the level of engagement and understanding that the current audience group has with Foursquare. So, in fact, we would like to start with a poll. So the poll question is, are you aware of Foursquare? And your inputs would be much appreciated. Okay, we will have this for another 15 seconds. Five more seconds. Okay, so believe me or not, there are 50% people in the target audience that have said yes, and the other 50% have said no. So, for both groups, I would just like to say that Foursquare is a social media platform, but where it differentiates itself from the other traditional social media platforms like Facebook and Twitter is that it beautifully integrates the social media on the internet with your activities in the physical world. So in a way, it creates a virtual world and lets you, walk in and walk out of it as if it coexisted with your physical world. In context of hotels, what is Foursquare and why you need it? Foursquare is one of the largest location-based social media networks. Its current subscription base is over 20 million. It's got a global footprint, so it is used in all parts of the world. It's got commercial partnership with Condé Nast and New York Times for visitor tips. And it's got a seamless business integration which provides real-time discounts to Facebook users. In a way, it is an Internet of Things. So apart from the fact that Internet is generally used to gather information, and on Facebook you have the ability to provide business pages, where Foursquare is different, unique, and more useful is the fact that you can be in a location, check out what are the different options available in a location around a particular category, say hotels or cafes or restaurants. Also find out what are the specials running in these different outlets. And more so, if you are able to check in, which is something that you can also do on Facebook today, but Foursquare was the one that pioneered the concept. If you are able to check in, then you get to see if there is anybody else who is in your social media circle who is also available at the same destination or same location. I have somebody raising their hand, so just give me a moment, let me find out. Melanie, I'm just going to unmute you so you can ask your question, please. Melanie, do you have a question there? Okay, so Melanie, you can keep the question for the end of the session, and I will come back and try and answer that for you. So the structure of today's webinar is what the world looks like to a Foursquare user. It starts with the location, the way you can recognize a location, the way you can filter a location for different items. This is followed by how you can preview different offers in a specific location. And the third one is actually an integration more at a strategic level, where for a Foursquare user, you get to visit the business pages that are offered by different brands and find out more about their brands, their philosophy, what is the general sentiment of the consumer who is using or trying to associate themselves with that brand. But first things first, Foursquare, why users sign up for it. You know, here is a differentiator that Foursquare came up with, and that was to keep up with friends not only on a social media platform, but also to try and declare where you are, so your physical location. The idea being millions of people check in and they just get to know if any of their friends on Foursquare are also available in the same location. A very nice and surprising opportunity to have a quick coffee or a quick meal together. You can also check into different places and broadcast this via Foursquare to Facebook and Twitter. You know, brands, they allow companies to, so under the brands feature, companies are allowed to create special pages with tips, and these tips can be used by the users to benefit from. Now here is something that Facebook did which was very unique. They tried to create a sense of belonging or a sense of ownership by offering special features like mayorship, by offering special features like badges, like specials, and super user status that may help you, the end user, network and reward with get rewarded with more discounts. Obviously, this was playing on to or leading on to something bigger, which was an ego booster. So for a lot of social media junkies, Foursquare became a platform where they could go and claim the maximum number of venues in terms of becoming a mayor and trying to compete with each other. Foursquare also came up with a very smart analytic board called the leaderboard, where it would tell who has had the maximum number of check-ins and who is the current mayor, and what would it take for anybody else to try and compete and take the mayorship. And here is why you need to check in when using Foursquare. By sharing your location with Foursquare, you are checking in. This can be done to let your friends know your whereabouts, find friends in the same area, and earn points and badges. consistent check-ins help you get badges and even mayorship. This leads to earning more discounts, communicating with the management, and sharing your experience through the app on your phone. Foursquare user will just flash the offer on the phone to the cashier for the check to be settled appropriately. So from a user point of view, they check into different places and they like to talk about it, and as long as the management of the cafe or the restaurant or the hotel is on Facebook and actively using that, they would have the intelligence of who all have checked in. Now once the check-in has happened, and imagine as a Foursquare user you were sent a special offer coupon which you now want to redeem, you will just need to mention that to the cashier at the time of settlement, and just for checking in the management may recognize you with a special discounted rate or a 2-for-1 offer, for an example. And this is where claiming the venue for the management is very important. Now, who is a Foursquare mayor? A mayor in Foursquare is the user with the most number of days with check-ins at a specific place within the last 60 days. Only one check-in per day counts towards your mayorship tally. If you have a lot of check-ins that seem fake or consistently far away from where you are checking in, these check-ins will not count towards the mayorship total. Lots of businesses are now offering specials for the mayor of venue. So be sure to keep a lookout for specials nearby when you're looking at the Places tab in the app. But you must remember that only users with a photo uploaded to their account will be awarded mayorship. Now at this stage I would like to lead on to the next poll question. So the next question is, do you use Foursquare for your business? Another 15 seconds to go. Okay, and I'm now closing the poll. So out of the available target audience, 23% say yes and 77% say no. So I hope with this session you will be able to drive some business through the usage of Foursquare. And here is where the most interesting part starts. So till now what we were covering is more from the user's point of view, who are using Foursquare to share location, to visit different places, to scan different offers and find out the most appropriate one that they would like to go for. But Foursquare for business is actually now for the business owners. So this is more relevant in terms of the hotel trying to use it to drive business. There are two ways in which Foursquare for business can be used. One is the venue owners and one is for branding purposes. On the venue owners, the first thing that you need to do is go and claim your venue. You know, Foursquare is very well integrated with maps, so your physical location and your business just needs to be added and claimed by the management, and I think it would be a great thing to do as a starting point, because once you claim your venue, you will have an intelligence on how many people who use Foursquare are checking into your venue, and that itself will be a great starter, because if you want to get in touch with anybody who has just checked in and left a comment, good or bad, while that person is in the building, it would let you do that. Now once you have claimed a venue, just for the potential users who you would like to attract, you can create a special. So you can say a Monday morning coffee special available between this time to this time, and you can have a 50% discount on our normal coffee prices or anything like that. So what it does is any kind of special that is created with the idea that a Foursquare person who is scouting for offers will have visibility on this, and if they find it attractive, they will come in and give you the sale that otherwise would not have come to you, because there was no way that you can connect with somebody who is on the move unless that person is interested in looking out for offers. On the branding part, I would go up a bit into detail, because there are two things that you need to remember. The brand part has the facility to let you create a banner, so that can have your hotel's branding on it. It will be like a dedicated page, something similar to what Facebook offers. But where it gets really interesting is that you can have a lot of people who can join or become members of your brand page, and that kind of lets you qualify and lets you understand, lets you figure out the demographics and the kind of people who are trying to associate with your brand. And that is something that you may like to reconcile with your marketing efforts and with your customer persona, to see that your marketing message in general is in line with the kind of people who are recognizing with your brand. The brand page is also the place where you can have the backlink strategy, which works very well for search engine optimization work. So you can have hotel URLs backlinked into your brand page. May I also suggest that you go a step further, and all the images that you use on the brand page, you name those file images behind your brands, so that when the Google crawlers reach this site, they are able to associate the brand and the name of the banner with your brand, because again that will help with your search engine optimization results. For very advanced users, so something that is not recommended for beginners, but for advanced users who slowly get to observe that a lot of different people using Foursquare are checking in, you can create a partner badge. Now, a partner badge is the only feature that is chargeable on Foursquare. Rest everything is free. And what a partner badge does is it lets you create a special, but where it gets a little bit complex is the fact that you will have to submit an application to Foursquare, and they will approve to see whatever you are offering in terms of a partner badge is something that is aligned to your brand as well as Foursquare. And once they approve of it, they will let you know the costs involved. It is normally $25,000 per month, and there is a minimum of 3 months applicable. But if there are any changes on that, they will let you know on that as well. Now, where partner badges become extremely handy is that for very savvy users, partner badges can offer them discounts. Depending on how creative the hotel has been in terms of coming up with a nice partner badge program, you can offer special discounts, you can offer free stays, you can offer extra loyalty points for people who check in between a particular period. And all of that can again create a lot of buzz and a lot of momentum for your hotel. And remember, a partner badge can at a brand level be done by the actual brand, and this is where for an independent hotel maybe the costs seem high, but for a brand the partner badge program can be done by the brand, and the costs can be shared by all the member hotels. Everybody else still gets to enjoy the traffic that will increase because of the program, and they only have to share a fraction of the cost. The next slide is on building a brand / business page. So customer branded banner, this drives brand awareness. This is the example that you have on the left hand of the slide is, it's numbered as the top one, the number one item. Number two is a rich description of the business. So in a way, it's like a microsite that you are getting to create. Number three are active links that you create for your brands. Like I mentioned earlier, it can be a great incoming link building strategy. Number four is the set of tips left by the Foursquare business. Foursquare users may socially discover your account when they read one of your public tips left from local restaurants, from tourist attractions, etc. And five is the list of followers, where your objective is to firstly increase so that any offer that you broadcast reaches to all the target audience. But like I also said, from time to time you need to look at the list of followers to see if you can identify them with the persona of the ideal customer as part of your marketing strategy. Here is an example of a hotel brand page on Foursquare. The example is that of Ritz-Carlton. So you get to see the banner at the top, great for your brand awareness. And this is where I was saying that the actual image which represents the banner can be named as the Ritz-Carlton title page on Foursquare, or anything relevant instead of pick1.jpg, so that when Google crawlers come in, they are able to relate to this image to that of Ritz-Carlton. It will show up on Google Images. It will show up on the content part of Google, and eventually help you with your search engine optimization. Now the orange button that you see is follow the Ritz-Carlton. So if you are keen on trying to find out about the updates that keep coming from time to time from Ritz-Carlton, then you may like to follow it. So ensure that your brand page is very exciting, is very enticing for people to be wanting to be a part of the list of followers. You may also like to follow your competition. So as a hotel, you may like to click the follow the competition button if the competition has a Foursquare page, so that you at all times are aware of what are the things that they are coming up with. Here is also a hotel example of how people have used Foursquare. The page that you see on the top has the hotel details. It also tells you about how many people are following this hotel and how many check-ins have they had, who is the mayor. But at the bottom, what it is showing you is actually a screenshot of our tool, and we have an online reputation management tool that lets you manage the different social media sites in terms of the comments and in terms of keeping track of what different people are writing at all points of time. So through a tool like that, you can collectively look at the sentiment that prevails for your brand, for your hotel at any point of time. Now here is a summary of the action items around this webinar. So for a brand, you need to establish your brand page. For the hotels, you need to claim your venue. And this is the best part. You can have multiple venues within the same hotel. So if your hotel has a nice fitness center, if your hotel has 5 restaurants and 2 bars, each of these different venues can be claimed on Foursquare, so that you are always aware of who is checking in. And it also becomes easier for the hotel manager, the duty manager, or anybody who is in charge at any point of time to just walk in, look at the number of people who have checked in, and actually establish contact and go and talk to them and find out about their usage, find out about, because you already have a common bridge, the Foursquare, to talk about. If there is any way in which you could find out more about the guest and try and provide this information. This is the kind of experience that a Foursquare user will come back again and again for, because they get that special recognition as a Foursquare user, and as a hotel you need to capitalize. They could benefit from any of the specials that are available. Now the fourth item, which is recognize your mayor, is a very logical thing to do. Like mentioned earlier, in the last 60 days, whoever has had the maximum number of check-ins becomes the mayor. And if somebody is checking into your place again and again, he's already become a mayor, is a direct reflection of the fact that they like your hotel. And the least you could do is actually recognize your mayor with a free stay or a special meal voucher or anything like that. So this way there would be a give and take, and the mayor would understand that his or her patronization is being appreciated and recognized. So I mean, I would go on to say, look at the leaderboard and look at how many of these regular Foursquare users who keep checking in can you recognize. But definitely mayors are something that you need to treat very importantly, because they are your word of mouth customers. They are your potential clients who will spread the good word. They are the customers who may go and write a good feedback about you on TripAdvisor. And that's the idea. The idea is that there are different platforms, there are different sites which are user-generated content-based, and if you create an ecosystem and if you integrate this in the mind of the customer, then you will have good words spreading for your hotel or for your brand across all these different platforms. You need to manage your Foursquare account with regular updates to keep the followers excited. You need to track your Foursquare reviews. This is very important. You know, through a tool like RateGain, which is our in-house tool for online reputation management, or if you want to do it manually. But the idea is that at all times you are able to keep track of what people are writing about your hotel on Foursquare. And where it becomes really handy if you use a tool is that you have the ability to create alerts. And through that, the moment the reviews are collected and scored within our solution, any specific score which is below a certain threshold, you can be alerted, so you can straight away walk into the venue and speak to the person who has commented about you. Now these are excellent customer recovery opportunities in case the customer is not happy. So in a way, Foursquare kind of helps you become a mind reader. You also need to meet up with the reviewer on their next check-in and thank them for their feedback. So to show that you are savvy, you are monitoring your Foursquare, you are monitoring all the platforms through which customers are able to talk to you, and that is something that will be very impactful for the end user. And like mentioned earlier, you need to check in and follow your competition as well, to look at their Foursquare strategy, to look at what are the specials that they are introducing and how are they optimizing the usage of Foursquare. Now this is a very descriptive example of how a hotel has been using Foursquare. So I will not read this whole bit out, and what I'll do is I'll share this presentation with you as a token of thanks for attending this session. But before we finish the session, let us have the last poll question. So the question is, after attending this presentation, would you want to see how to better manage Foursquare and other social media sites through our technology platform? and we have another 15 seconds, and after that I will be very happy to take some questions as well. So I've got responses. 70% of the attendees today would actually like to look at the technology platform that that will help you manage your social media sites better, and we will definitely get in touch with you. So you have the contact information now on your screen, so you can get in touch with our marketing department. And now I'm going to be taking those questions. The first question now I have is about the mayor. Can we screen our staff who always checking in on our property or not? If cannot, we can't make the accurate reward to the customers. Absolutely. So that's a good question. The question that you need to ask to your staff member who are using Foursquare to checking in is that what is the purpose of them checking in, and you should actually have a Foursquare policy where anybody working or anybody who is a supplier contractor doesn't get to become the mayor. And there is nothing bad about having a policy like this, because the idea of this is to attract more business. The idea of this is to actually target the Foursquare user who gets converted as your user, as your patron. So if you have a Foursquare policy around people who are definitely going to be there, not out of their interest but out of their vocation, should not be awarded a mayorship. And I think instead of trying to control it at the Foursquare level, it will be a better control if you apply that at the HR level and ask your team members not to. Do you have any other question? Tariq, thank you for this question. Okay, so I see there are no further questions. So, okay, there's one more. Can we have a pop-up of our brand once there are some users around our property? Yes, you sure can. If you use Foursquare, so let me just answer this one, and there is another one that is lined up now from Lahiru. So you can always have a pop-up, and for the end user, the pop-up is what will entice them to come over to your hotel and not go to any other hotels. So the idea is not that you should have a pop-up or not. The idea is that how exciting or how much of a good offer are you presenting in the pop-up. That will decide whether you are chosen over anybody else, or somebody else's offer was more exciting and they don't look at, or they don't consider yours and go to someone else. Now here is the question from Lahiru, which is a very interesting question, which says, can you do revenue management with Foursquare? I would say you absolutely can. In fact, it would apply to all, but let me give you an example of a restaurant. In restaurant, the revenue management index is RevPASH, revenue per available seat hour. And wherever you notice that your restaurant has a lower RevPASH, is where you can introduce specials which can be valid between the slow hours. So traditionally what industry calls as happy hours are actually those slow hours, and you can inculcate that into your marketing program to say, I would like to increase my revenue per available seat hour by trying to bring in more traffic at the slow times, so that the revenue that gets generated at that time contributes towards the overall RevPASH figure, and that should boost your top line. Okay, thank you, Campbell, for your kind words. There is one more question from Lana, which says, how can you control check-ins of those checking in using the facilities from those non-users? I am not sure if I understand your question, but what I can suggest is that if you have a feeling that people are misusing by checking in while they are physically not available there, you must definitely let Foursquare know about it, because next time, so Foursquare is app based. Foursquare is at all times connected to the GPS, and if their GPS data doesn't match with the physical location, then they will not only advise the user otherwise. They will also ensure that in certain cases the user is not allowed to misuse this facility again. Okay, so Chandika has a question. Can we manage multiple hotels for hotel chains using one Foursquare backend? You sure can. If you remember, the Foursquare for Business slide that I had, it had two parts to it. It has the brand part to it, and it has the property part to it, or the venue part to it. So the brand part to it can be more around your branding, can be more around what the hotel's philosophy is, and what is the essence of service that you have. And in the same page, you can have these multiple venues associated, and each of these venues will then be clickable, and that will lead you to the actual location of the outlet or the hotel. So you can have a structure of hub and spoke, where the hub is the brand page and spokes are the different locations or venues available. Okay, I think that brings us to the end of this session. Once again, I would like to thank each one of you for taking out the time to attend this, and please feel free to get in touch with us if you need any further assistance with your online reputation management or usage of Foursquare. Thank you, and have a great day ahead. Bye-bye.